My name is Alexandria. Being Catholic and going to church and just being super in the faith was always a part of my life, like from the beginning. It's always been something important to me. My mom did a fairly exceptional job of helping me understand my faith and not just telling me, like, this is what you have to do. So I never really felt, like, uneasy about my faith.
I am Laurelyn. I'm Alexandria's mom. I'm a cradle Catholic. Grew up kind of regular, going to church Sundays, nothing too major, and then attended a retreat, which kind of changed things for me when I was a young teenager. Um, then I experienced a lot of difficulties in life, and eventually my faith became real, and I became very involved, and that's where I am now. That's why I'm a Catholic. What did I say? The Philippines is the only Catholic country in Asia, so about 90% of the population is Catholic. So it's kind of a given if you're Filipino, you're probably going to have some exposure to Roman. So being in California as opposed to the Philippines, I think I was exposed to different religions. I had a lot of questions, especially from a friend who attended something called the Church of Christ, which was pretty much anti-Catholic. So a lot of the stuff that they brought up about how the Catholic Church was so bad and what was wrong, I had questions, so I researched all of that. It kind of pushed me to question my faith. I would say it was the Christian influence in the United States is already a big influence. So there's always that Judeo-Christian root to whatever it was that I was exposed to. I never ventured off as far as Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism. Although I did, like, Buddhism was very drawing to me, so I did try some of that stuff. But
My belief has pretty much stayed the same, but how I incorporate my faith in my life has changed over time. That how most people, they kind of just assume that this is what the church says, this is what I'm supposed to do, and that's also what kind of like leads the younger generation to want to like venture off of the church. I think the reason that didn't happen for me is because whenever I had questions, um, I always asked, and my mom always gave me the like right answer. Like she never just said like, oh, like don't do this or you'll go to hell, or stuff like that. And I think because I was able to have those answers, that gave me a more like open and secure feeling about my faith.
so for several years, it's in a relationship, very difficult relationship, going back and forth, and experienced a lot of trauma in that, um, violence issues, and just very difficult issues. And if you pair that with like mental illness, depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, those kind of things, like really dark events in my life. So all of the teachings, as far as God loves you, Jesus loves you, and all of that, it was very difficult to believe that, given the state of life I was in. But when people stepped in who did acknowledge that and did believe that and did guide me to that spirit in me, was I able to see and experience God's mercy. And when I experienced that, that's when it became very alive. And it started to make sense, where God never left. He's always been with me. And I just chose not to be with him. So, and then once that experience of actually realizing he's been with me the whole time, all of the traditions and all of the teachings that the church, has passed down made so much sense. When I experienced that encounter with God and that one-on-one, just that personal experience, everything else in my faith like lit up. So that's when it changed.
I think it was kind of like a gradual thing because there was never really a point where I didn't believe in it or didn't apply it to my own life. I would just say that after certain events in my life, it became more clear and it just reiterated what I already believed. If that was 7, my dad passed away, and so he was murdered, and that obviously brought a lot of question. And when you're that young, you don't really understand why things like that happen. And while it was very traumatic and it really obviously caused a lot of hurt and sadness in my life and my mom's and my family, um, it has opened a lot of doors of understanding for me. Even now that I'm 19, and I was 7 when that happened, but even up to date, I can still go back to that event and see how God has worked in my life since then.
It's so incorporated in my life that there's no dichotomy. There's no divide. This is my faith life and this is my life without faith. I know when I was living life trying to control every detail and every aspect, and it's a lot of burden. And now understanding that my life is an expression of God's love, and He is love, and He's light, and He wants to share that joy that He has with us. And it's just, there's still difficulties in life, but experiencing that joy and that peace is something I don't really want to lose. And I've lost it before, and I know the difference.
I think what's great about California in that it's very diverse, like religiously and culturally. It does offer different perspectives and something for everyone, because while to me the Catholic faith is my life and what I think holds to be true and something that I identify with, I understand that that's not the case for everyone. But here, like, there is something that um, people can find for themselves if they want it. So I think it's definitely a place to be if you are wanting to explore that religious freedom, because there are a lot of different people who believe in different things. And then for me personally, same thing. And while I won't, convert to another religion, it's nice for me to understand different perspectives and why people believe the things they do in their own faith, because then it brings me back to my own and kind of just reaffirms my beliefs and causes me to question, and make sure that I'm up to date with what I believe in and I'm not just following, the book just because it's what it says.
I think it's fun because you can see God working in all religions, and not every Catholic will tell you that. And like in Judaism, you could see what God is doing there. In Islam, and the depth and the beauty of those religions, in Hinduism, and even like religions that kind of pop up, like this
like
Pastafarians and like stuff like that.
Like Scientology.
Yeah,
Scientology.
Scientology.
Listening started in California.
Yeah, there's a lot of beauty to it, and if you can find that beauty within you and in your faith, and I think a telltale of the truth and is that you can see God working in all of everything else, and you're not limited. Like would I convert to any of them? No, because I believe that this is the fullness of it is here, but I can enjoy the different aspects of it.